Ouch, was that a ghost?
Was that a ghost?
Willis?
And Lee.
Zoinks.
Zoink scoops. Let's just list out all of Lee's sayings. I mean, you have so many fun facts. Lee has
Schlut.
sayings. Schlut. Zoink scoops.
Oh, brother.
I think that's the most famous one out of all of them. Our viewers know I'm a liar and they just accept it. We all
don't
just
even know any of
accept
this.
Lee. So, today I'm telling the story on Danver State Hospital. It has a few different names. My favorite was the Danvers Lunatic Asylum. Which one
That's
fact?
so messed up.
Okay, fine. It wasn't my favorite, but it was also known as that one.
No, it's funny because it's so ridiculous.
Yes, it's ridiculous. Fun fact, this asylum was the inspiration for Arkham Asylum in the Batman movie. Was that the
Ooh.
movie with Bane?
Was there an Arkham in that one?
Was there? I don't know. Either way.
Because if
out
they
of all
have
the
a Joker in Harley Quinn, then they usually always have it.
Oh, I don't know. Whatever one. My favorite one is the one with Bane in it. I love Bane.
Really? I love the Michael Keaton one. I don't know if Bane was in it or not.
All I know is the choice is yours.
Who's the one? My son calls one of them Bat Nipples. Because I guess the
Bat
Batman
nipples?
suit has like nipples on it.
What?
And he's like, oh, that's Bat Nipples. Everyone loves the new Batman, the Christian Bale, not the before the Robert Pattinson one. But he talks in that I'm Batman, like really
I
low,
hate that
annoying
one.
voice. So I couldn't make it through it. But he has the Heath Ledger Joker in that one, and he's like a really good Joker.
Oh yes, I love him. Didn't he pass away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, he was such a good Joker. I even watched the movie. I think it was like how he became the Joker.
No,
A
that
lot
was
of people-
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yikes.
That was really, really good. That was really good.
A lot of people said they didn't like it, but I loved it.
I know. My husband hated it. I loved it, though.
So Danvers is found in Essex County in northeastern Massachusetts. It's like about 20 miles from Boston. It actually used to be known as Salem Village, and that was where all the witch trials were held. And then after the embarrassment of it all, they changed the town's name in hopes of forgetting the past with a new beginning. The hospital opened its doors in 1878 and named Dr. Calvin S. May its superintendent.
Superintendent? I'm sorry. No, you try again.
Its superintendent. The hospital was built in 1874 and opened its doors for business in 1878. It was designed by Nathaniel Bradley, a well-respected architect out of Boston. Bradley used the Kirkbride plan to design the building, which had staggered wings, which allowed natural light and fresh air to flow through every corridor, which he thought helped in curing the patients. So basically, he put importance on nice views, fresh air, and sunlight for all the patients, which was actually really nice. After 4 years of construction led by Nathaniel Jeremiah Bradley, the hospital consisted of two main buildings, administration, kitchen, laundry, chapel, dormitories for employees, and of course patient wards. And at the time, it was about $1.5 million to build. To be a self-sustaining hospital that was in an extremely rural area. I hate saying that word, rural.
It like doesn't want to come out of your mouth.
No.
I hate it too.
That was in an extremely rural area. I hate that word.
I do too.
But it was built in this rural area.
A non-urban area.
Anyone. No, not urban area. A non-urban.
Yes.
So rural. So the building was actually gorgeous. So it had like red bricks, and you could tell that they really paid attention to the little details in it. It honestly resembled like a royal palace, and it had what looked like a royal garden. So the layout of the buildings was two main buildings where the administration worked, which then had four wings extending off each side. One side male, one side female, and at the end of each wing, the very end, were the more aggressive patients. In the rear of the administration building were sleeping quarters for staff, segregated by male and female quarters, of course, along with laundry, kitchens. Of course, madam, and a chapel. It also had a building specifically for medical treatment. It had little repair shops, little cottages. They were really like their own little communities. It seems like back in the day, a lot of these asylums or hospitals kind of like wanted to stay away from people, and so they built their own little community so that they never had to leave the grounds.
It was probably the people in the neighborhoods that were like, oh, we don't want those people near us,
Right,
thinking that
yeah.
anybody that had any issue whatsoever was immediately mentally insane. Like, you could
Right.
have depression and you're insane. You could not want to have sex with your husband. You're insane. Like,
Psycho.
anything. You talk out of turn and you're a female. You're insane.
Or a witch. Yikes.
Yes.
So at the time, most asylums also had a network of tunnels that were running just below the building. Same with this one here. And it was used mainly in the winter. I thought that was pretty cool to keep the staff, dry, warm, fun time.
If there's a tunnel under an asylum, it's haunted. Whether it's notated or not, there's definitely somebody living down there, or Ninja Turtles, or something's happening
Or
down there.
Ninja Turtle. I vote for Ninja Turtles. So the Insane Asylum became a teaching hospital for nurses, a pathological research lab, and a school clinic for mentally ill children. But
They probably sucked with the kids back then.
Oh, I'm sure they definitely did. What once started as a facility eager to provide compassionate care with a mission to cure mental illness took a turn for the worst. The hospital was built to house about 500 patients, but by the 1940s, there were over 2,600 patients with only a staff of 125. So I'm sure poor working conditions, everyone's stressed out, and you always got the abusive nurses
I'm sorry,
out of
how
the
many?
bunch.
What was the numbers? 125 staff, and what were the patients?
Over 2,600.
So that's like a 1 to 26 ratio?
Yeah.
Like 20, 1 to 20?
Yeah. That's insane, though.
And some of the staff is just sitting in the office, too. So they're not even hands-on.
Oh, boy. Oh, brother. So many patients were kept in the attic and the basement. Many were left just wandering the halls, filthy and naked. There were multiple accounts of abuse from staff. In the 1890s, Dr. Charles Page deemed restraints harmful to the mentally ill, and the hospital found other means of control for its patients. So, from shock therapy to lobotomies to drugs, straitjackets, you name it. Shock therapy was used as a way to make patients submit by fear. It was used as both a treatment and a form of punishment. Patients would be left in straitjackets and completely forgotten about for days to weeks at a time. And the asylum is actually known as the birthplace of the prefrontal lobotomy. So,
oh my gosh.
If there's anyone who doesn't know what a lobotomy is, I'm going to let you know a little bit about the procedure. So, the lobotomy is a surgical procedure where nerve pathways are cut off from other areas, like literally cut in the brain. It was used as a type of therapy for many mental ill patients, mainly those who were known to be destructive or violent, and it was used as a way of calming them. The procedure was performed with a surgeon pounding a pick-like object, so kind of it looked like an ice pick, through the patient's eye socket, and this would pierce the bone connecting the eye to the frontal lobe. The surgeon would then push the pick further to disconnect the nerve connections in the brain.
So basically you're saying they just went in there and they fished around and hoped what they are cutting will do something good and not kill them or give them seizures. And once the pick is in there, if you move, like, you're fucked, because you're going to just do way more damage. So you can't even fight it. Once it's in there, what are you supposed to do as a patient?
So the procedure for calming patients became widely used, even though it had negative effects. Patients would show little to no interest in anything, lack of initiative, little to no response to their surrounding. They showed little to no emotion. The procedure pretty much took their lives away. They were living, but no longer living.
I wonder why. They just literally went in and scrambled their brains.
Turned into mush. I mean, you have no way of knowing what you're doing up there. Well, at the time, anyway.
Even to this day, I don't think that they don't do lobotomies still, do they? It says today, lobotomies is rarely performed. So that means it is? That was Britannica. When was the last lobotomy performed? 1967, it says on here. So hopefully...
Oh, yeah. So Walter Jackson Freeman, and this is... we're talking about the asylum again. Walter Jackson Freeman II conducted the hospital's lobotomies. He actually ended up doing over 200 lobotomies during his hospital residency, or whatever it's called. He would thrust a long rod into the corner of the patient's eye, wiggle the rod around a bit, and then withdraw it, severing the brain's connections to the prefrontal lobe.
What's the doctor's name again?
Walter Jackson Freeman II. He was a
Two doctors.
neurologist. His technique was considered very simple. It was about a 10-minute procedure that would leave his patient in a zombie-like state afterwards. So after the procedure, you could find the patient walking the halls aimlessly with blank stares. And that was their life moving forward. So now to the children of the asylum. So unfortunately, there wasn't much on the children's ward, or everything was kept very secret. In an interview with a previous employee from the janitorial staff, he confirmed that there was, in fact, a children's ward. Janitorial staff had access to every nook and crevice in the building. But when it came to the children's ward, they had to call prior to entering. They couldn't just go up there and start doing their work. They always had to call and
What?
get approval. Yeah.
What were they
So
doing in there?
normally you would think, oh, okay, it's probably just for the children's, safety. But no, I definitely don't think so.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, I can't even. My mind is going really bad places
yeah.
right now, and I'm
I,
hoping I'm over exaggerating in my head.
Yeah. And even then, like so of course, if you're calling to get approval, they're gonna, if there's anything going on, which I'm pretty sure there was, they would clean everything up, make sure, you can't see what was going on up there. So there really wasn't much that went on with the children there, or much evidence.
You didn't find the ages of the children because you said they
No,
didn't really document anything, huh?
no, right. But the previous employee did tell a story of a newer patient, about 15 years old, who would always try to escape and hide up in the vent. So this child actually ended up getting trapped in a vent. They searched and searched but couldn't find the boy until staff reported a foul smell. They ended up cutting through the wall and found that the boy had slid down on heating coils, got trapped, and died. His feet landed on the coils and they literally burnt up to his shins. Burnt off up to his shins.
Poor freaking baby.
It's disgusting. I'm honestly happy. I couldn't find anything on what happened with the children. It just makes me so sad.
It really does, and I'm wondering how young, because we've covered other things where people were putting 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds in these asylums,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm really just hoping it was like teens and up. I'm going to pretend it was teens and up in my head. I'm going to
Let's say
use
teens
like
and up.
ignorance is bliss on this.
Yes. So after some massive budget cuts in the 1960s, the hospital knew it was on the brink of closure. The last building permanently closed its doors in 1992. Prior to the demolition.
1992?
Yes.
I'm picturing all this
1992.
happening in like the 50s, 60s, like Nurse Ratched. Like I didn't picture 90s. That's crazy.
Well, I don't think there were any patients in there in the 90s. I think the last patient was in the 80s. Fuck, I should have
That's
checked that
still
out.
pretty recent if it was the 80s.
Yeah. But prior to the demolition of the grounds, those who returned to the vacant hospital would hear disembodied voices, patients asking for help and for attention.
Oh,
They would hear wailing. So these are like former employees going back to clear out the space, or people going in to clean up, or, all that stuff. And some claim to have seen apparitions of former patients as well. So there is still a cemetery with more than 700 patients being buried, and many of them don't even have a name on the tombstone, so there's tons of unmarked graves.
700?
Yes, 700 patients. Unfortunately, but fortunately, the building was heavily guarded even after its doors closed, so ghost investigators weren't able to get in there. So I say fortunately, but unfortunately, because it sucks at the fact that we weren't able to see everything that truly went on, because I'm sure there's way more disgusting shit considering it was still guarded. And that's why people had to keep going back to get everything out of there, because
Mm-hmm.
100% there were some secrets in there that they didn't want anyone to find out about.
Imagine if it's like a really tough place to work. The ratio patient to
Mhm.
staff is really bad. So at that point, you get people that either don't want to go there to work and they're working because they need the money really bad and they're pissed
Mhm.
about it. Like you're not getting a caring nurse that's like, oh, I want
No,
to make sure that you're better. Or just like a person that has all this rage built up and the patients are their punching bags, basically.
literally. Literally. Um, but demolition was completed in 2006. The only buildings left today are the two D and G wings and the administration, as well as the cemeteries. Hopefully, they would never move the cemeteries. And the land is now home to the Avalon Danvers apartments during the construction.
Ah,
Yeah, and then during the construction of these apartments, I guess like a random fire broke out, and people say that was due to the upset spirits as well. And
Imagine if
yeah.
it was a little boy who's like, I just wanted to leave. You guys did this
Oh
to
my
me.
gosh.
So now I'm doing it to you.
I didn't even think of that. Oh shit.
They're definitely all going to be haunted, all those apartment buildings.
Oh my god, 100%. We
They
should go
should
knock
just-
on doors.
They'll probably think it's the ghost.
Right.
It would be nice if they just threw up like a huge memorial or something there and just left it alone.
Right? But no, why would we? That
They
costs
would
taxpayer
never do that.
dollars. And that's something that would actually be meaningful and helpful. So why would they ever do that? Yikes.
All these unmarked graves who you don't even know what happened to these poor people.
And it sucks because I really want to know like what was going on with the children, but I bet you anything they were testing lobotomies on them to see what would happen. Oh, so disgusting.
I was going the other way. I was thinking like all the perverts, and I'm hoping that that's not happening. And I'm sure that there was that
I'm sure
happening
that
at some
happened
point
too.
in
Yeah.
there. Because there was no regulation, I'm sure, on any of that. The people in the towns nearby were probably like, oh, that's fine. Just keep it up there. Just keep it away from us.
So ridiculous. Ugh.
Like, I am so glad that the stigma for mental health has changed so much. It's not to where it needs to be.
Not at all, but it's come a long way.
Yes, and they actually understand there's levels of how much assistance you need, and they don't just throw everyone together. You know what I mean? There's so many things that can be cured, and then there's other lifelong issues that people can adapt and live productive lives with.
At the end of the day, regardless of the stigma around mental health and how no one wanted to look as if their family was imperfect and everyone was worried about what other people thought, a mother's love is a mother's love. So where the fuck was that? Like, that's never changed. You give birth to this baby and you love this baby no matter what. I don't think it was any different in the past. I don't think we just developed this love throughout the years. I think it happens. It happens to every mother no matter what. I mean,
no, there's chemicals released from the child that parents smell, and it gives you like that extra when you have the child.
I don't get it.
Grandparents, anything. I would kill anybody. I don't even have grandkids, but I would destroy anybody that messed with my grandkids.
I'll talk to you boys. I'll have them get on that.
Well, thanks for depressing me, Lee.
You're welcome. I love stories on hospitals and asylums, but at the same time, it really brings the mood down.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening.
If you have a story you'd like us to share, email us at ouchwasthataghost@yahoo.com.
Don't forget to follow our Facebook page, Ouch, Was That a Ghost?